Good morning. My wife recently asked me why I haven't done any morning updates in a while, and I just said, well, it's kind of one of those things you just kind of stop doing, maybe, and got busy with some other things. So I thought instead of trying to resume that, I would just do a quick year-end review, and we could just kind of recap how the start of the LLC for Rugged Air went, and then bring us up to date. Which obviously it's Christmas Eve, uh, and yeah, let's get into it. So, just to recap, July 17th, Rugged Air came into existence, and for the rest of kind of July, I was actually just laid off in that month. So the rest of that month was spent getting all the paperwork, filing taxes, getting bank accounts set up, websites, DBAs, getting your socials ready, CRM, accounting, all the kind of behind the scenes kind of infrastructure was kind of getting set up for those last couple of weeks in July. And I kind of, arbitrarily marked August 1st as the first day we're open for business. And it might have been a little quick. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit, but I figured, because not everything was completely set up 100%. Um, I like to kind of jump in and get things moving. Um, so whether or not like I had everything ready to go, I know that there's just a lot of stuff you can do as you need to. So um, start marketing, start advertising. That's what essentially August was. So we did. It was marketing. It was all marketing. So we're doing home mailers. We're doing getting our Facebook ads set up. We got Nextdoor. I participate. I'm a youth football assistant coach. So I took out a sponsorship for our football team, which was actually kind of worked out pretty nice. Then I started, I tried to advertise on Google, but I had some Google listing issues, and that actually plagued me for a couple of months. Getting your Google listing was pretty difficult, and or at least it was for me. There was some like duplication issues. There was just, we have another business or a couple other businesses set up at the same address, so Google didn't like that, and we had to kind of prove what was going on. It took a couple of months actually to get that all cleared up, which is finally cleared up. Thank goodness. But anyway, so that was essentially that was August. It was all just keyboard warrior, getting your things set up, further developing website, getting products set up, price books, all that stuff. Then that brings us to September. September, some of those marketing efforts finally start paying off. First actual revenue generating work was done in September. So that's, a full 40, 50 days after the establishment of the company that I'm actually, some dollars are starting to come back in the door instead of just flying out, which, you know, is just part of starting a business, or it was at least part of mine. And, so we got our first tune-ups in September. Our first repair work was done in September. So at least things are starting to, catch a little bit. Then that brings us to October. Well, September we got the first truck. Rugged One, it's called, and it's just a pickup truck, just something so we can get work done. We got it finally lettered in October. It looks fantastic. It looks great. Really proud of it. It's very recognizable. Black truck, bold orange letters on it. Sorry if I just bumped the microphone. So the brand recognition, and that is actually from day one. That's been part of it since it's a new company. Brand recognition and just shouting and jumping up and down and just telling other people that Rugged Air Heating and Cooling exists. that's the effort. That is what needs to happen, just to try to get yourself, wedge yourself in with the big players in my area. The other, we have a few big HVAC players in our area, just to wedge myself in there and at least get my name, at least in the conversation, has been the challenge. And that's part of being the little guy, the new guy in the block. So uh, that's been challenging, but at least it started paying off. So October, we had the truck got lettered, we got some uniforms. First install job goes in October. So that was actually, it was close to a break even month because of that one install job, and the couple of other pieces of work that were done. uh Incidentally, I went back and looked at, so when I first was getting ready to open this company up, I did some financial projections, and my financial projections said that we break even in the fifth month and actually turn a small, just a teeny tiny profit in the sixth month of operating. So technically, that would put us in where we got August, September, October, November, December, January being our first month, being actually turning a profit. So that was the prediction anyway. Things seldom go how you predict them to, and that's how it works too. So that brings us to November. November, I get we get our first indoor air quality job. So that kind of rounded out the offerings. So now at this point, Rugged Air has performed tune-ups, service work, repair work, installations, and IAQ. So those are the kind of the four things that we do here: residential and some commercial. There was a chance encounter in November that kind of changed things for the better of the company. So, real quick story: I was doing an install job. It was running late, and I had to run to the hardware store for a few things. Standing in line, wearing my shirt, dirty from the day. Somebody behind me kind of taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, Rugged Air Heating and Cooling. Where are you based out of?" I said, "I'm local. I'm just up the road." I said, "I'm doing work for somebody else just down that way." I said, "So I'm super local." And he said, I'm actually with a builder. We're looking for an HVAC person who is small and local." And I said, "Well, I'm as small, one person for now. I'm as small and as local as you get." So we exchanged cards, and then I just kind of let that go. Turns out a few days later, that person got in contact with me again and had several projects for me to go out and look at. Some of those projects have actually come through as work, some very, very, very good work, and that all kind of landed in December. December, which can be a kind of a hit and miss month in the HVAC world in my area, just because you have the holidays, and if it doesn't need to get done, nobody's doing it in December. So things will sometimes pick it back up in January a little bit. Excuse me. We did have a cold snap. We're up in Wisconsin, so we did have a little bit of a cold snap early, and that did spur some business. It spurred some urgency, so that actually helped out a lot. So weather was on our side. We had kind of a chance encounter that really was really fortunate for the business. Got me in touch with some different people, different properties, that opened up December for us. Incidentally, December became the first month that I was actually able to pay myself a little bit of money. So that's 5 months without a paycheck until December. And finally, the business made enough money where I could give a little bit of myself a paycheck back, which was helpful because it lands around Christmas time. So that worked out pretty great. It didn't mean we are going to have a super extravagant Christmas, but Christmas wouldn't be canceled. Not that it ever would. That would be silly. So that kind of brings us up till now. It has been about a wild 5 months. And it's been interesting. It's been very difficult being a one-man owner operator, doing all the work myself. I'm not a young spring chicken, so I get sore a lot, which just tells me I just got to make sure we got to stay in shape, got to work safely, can't get hurt. Um, it's just some different considerations to do, but just reflecting on the last 5 months. It has been uh, scary and frightening and exciting and challenging and painful, both physically and uh, you know emotionally, and a little bit on the stress level, a little high stress. But you can see at this point that it's definitely viable. Things are looking really good. I'm really excited for the new year. I'm hoping that in the first part of 26 that we'll be able to hire first employees. That is super exciting. I'm looking very, very forward to that. Actually working with somebody is going to be great. My wife's been obviously a big help behind the scenes too. Um, but all those marketing efforts, they don't pay off for 2 or 3 months. So at this point, we're now doing a second kind of wave of marketing efforts because we have this kind of February is typically a slow month. January can be hit or miss depending on the weather. So we will see, and we'll keep chugging along, and maybe we'll do another check-in if people even want to hear how things are going. So if I need to post this, I'll probably have to chop it up a little bit. But all right, that's it for me. Happy 2025, everybody. Have a happy, healthy, safe rest of your year. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year, and we will talk to you later. Stay awesome, stay warm, take care.